The media is not tricking y'all. Colorado wins this game.
You're just shameless.
Cause we way too high for you. Tripping like we got too much on. Don't think got love before us. Cause we staying all night long. Yo, when we walk in the club, you better believe we know what's up. Got these girls a little trance. Throwing random in the dance.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to another rendition of the Bros and the Berg podcast. I cannot believe you're joining us after my last week's college football pick'em picks, but maybe you're just looking to get some information to fade me, which is all okay. Any publicity is good publicity. Wherever you're watching us, either on YouTube, listening to us on Spotify, please subscribe, give us a follow. If you could, we'd really appreciate it. But we thank you for joining us if you're a repeat viewer. Football season is back, like we said last week, but now we got the NFL to add into it. And we got a lot more headlines from baseball to college football. Got a lot to talk about today. Gentlemen, welcome back for another week. How we feeling?
Guys, I'm feeling great, and I'm going to be honest, I almost didn't show up to the podcast today because I don't think I can have a better week than I had last week. I really, I did great, and I know that it's going to come all plummeting back down to earth this week, but I'm excited to be back with you guys. We're in the best part of the year for sports. We got the stretch run in the MLB. We got football is getting started, and we know that basketball and hockey are not too far behind. We made it through the dog days of summer. Let's talk about some sports.
I'm excited. Just excited.
The media was not tricking y'all. I would like to apologize.
Yeah, dude, that was
sincerely
crazy.
to all the people out there that believed in Colorado football. I'd like to apologize directly to Deion Sanders himself. Coach Prime, I didn't think that your guys had it in them, and I apologize to you. I saw you call out that post-game reporter who had been writing about you and didn't believe in you, and you called him out, and you should call me out too. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Travis Hunter is him. I was unaware of that.
And also Shadir Sanders is
your son
him.
is also him. So I apologize sincerely to the fans of Colorado football and Deion Sanders himself.
And Coach Prime, if you want to come on the podcast and yell at us, well, not yell at me because I believed in you, but if you want to yell at these two redheaded jokers for not believing in you, we'll have you on anytime. So feel free to reach out.
We are going to get into it here. As Ryan said, the NFL is kicking off this week. The first game of the NFL will be kicking off on Thursday night at Arrowhead between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. As opposed to going through every single NFL game, Robbie has proposed something to us. So, Robbie, please introduce what that is.
Yeah, so we're going to do a weekly segment for the NFL. We're going to present our favorite spread. You can either pick the underdog or the favorite. And also your favorite over-under in whichever direction you feel that game is going to go. Gives us a good opportunity to hit on a couple of big games. We'll obviously go back and talk about, if there's lines that are really good and we don't want to touch them, we'll talk about those games if they're good games. And it gives us an opportunity to just not talk about bad teams for, a lot of the season. And I think everyone will appreciate that. So without any further ado, Ryan, how about you give us your spread of the week?
I think Vegas is on one, and especially when you're coming into the first week of games in the NFL and in college, as we saw, lots of beats, lots of games going, where you didn't think they would go. First week's always a crapshoot. With that being said, my favorite line, I think, is going to be the Saints hosting the Titans at -3. I think the Saints are a much better team than the Titans this year, even with Kamara suspended. I think the Saints are at least a touchdown favorite in this game, especially at home in the Dome. And I think they get it done.
No, I mean, they're essentially saying that this game would be a pick 'em on a neutral field, which I agree with you is blasphemy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I think that just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. So I like that pick a lot. I think the Saints are a little bit overrated. However, they're a lot better than the Titans are.
That was my thought.
I do in fact like that pick. I'll go with mine next. The Colts aren't going to be good to start this year. Let's just get that out of the way. I do think Anthony Richardson has a chance to be a good quarterback. You're only giving the Jags 5 points. I know they're on the road. I know they're in Indy, but Anthony Richardson first start at home. I don't think they keep this game within a touchdown. I like the Jags at -5.
And the Jags are going to be dialing
easy
up
line.
all sorts of just shit to throw at him, and just to confuse
Yep.
him. And that defense is good enough.
And their pass rush is so good, and that's what can contain a mobile quarterback, right? Their pass rush is great, and they're going to be able to keep him in the pocket, get him into bad situations. I think they cover that easy.
In between a few here, I was actually doing some research on this, and apparently, in terms of experts' favorite line, everybody is saying that they are going to hammer the Commanders -7 line against the Cardinals because the Cardinals are going winless this year, as Ryan has proclaimed on this podcast numerous times. I'm between two here. I was originally going to take one, but as there was news in practice today that Travis Kelce hyperextended his knee. And so the line is actually shifted. The line for the Chiefs was -6.5. It is now -5 against the Detroit Lions in the home opener. So I'm going to, if it is determined that Travis Kelce won't play in Thursday Night Football, I'm actually going to shift my attention. It would have been the Detroit Kansas City Chiefs line, but I'm going to shift it over to the Minnesota Vikings and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Vikings are favored by 6. I do not see how the Vikings don't win by touchdown against the Bucks.
Yep.
The Bucks
I fully agree. That was going to be my next one.
That is a great pick. Great pick.
So I'm going to stick with the Vikings Bucks. I think it's a little safer right now than the Chiefs. But I even with Kelce playing, the line was -6.5. I don't see Kansas. Sorry, Jude. I don't see Kansas City, if they have Kelce, not beating the Lions by touchdown at home.
I don't know. I've said this for a little bit now. Something about this game stinks to me, and that somehow the Lions are going to pull this shit out, because what a storyline that would be. I mean, I know the writers are on strike right now, and the NFL might not have the normal storylines they would, but I don't know. Something about that game stinks to me a little bit, and especially with Kelce being out, I could see the Lions winning that game.
I don't know, man. We'll see.
Yeah, you know the writers are just into some shit. They're just. I like that.
Ryan, how about your favorite over/under?
Again, lots to choose from. That 38 over/under for the Cardinals Commanders is just a trap. I don't think they hit 30. I legitimately think that
17-7 feels very reasonable.
I think it's one of those traps that it's the lowest over/under by 5 or 6 points.
No, the Panthers and Falcons are 39.5.
Wow.
That one feels spot on. I actually don't want to touch that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I'm not touching that one at all.
I have currently 2 that are coming to mind. But I'm going to go with one that is not as much of like a trap game. I'm going to go Raiders Broncos. I think 44 is a little high as well. Mm-hmm. I kind of like the under at 21-17 for this game, given the edge to Denver there. But I think the under hits in that game.
So Ryan does not think Russ is going to cook. Is what we're getting out of that. We know Jimmy G's not going to cook, so that's not a question. But I'm going to go to another afternoon game on Sunday. The Eagles and Patriots sitting at 45. Mm-hmm. I think that goes over. Yep. I see this being like a 35-17 kind of game for the Eagles. I'd be shocked to see the Eagles not put up 30, but I don't think their defense is as good as it was last year. I think the Patriots contribute enough to get that over. That's my favorite over under the week.
And the line in that game, I think, is a bit insulting.
4,
as well.
Yeah.
4
it's in Fox,
kind of
bro.
Rude.
You know that Belichick's been sitting around for the last 2 weeks just cooking shit up, like just in the lab making things happen. So I don't think it's an awful line, but I do agree that he does feel a little low.
This is another situation where I am between 2 games. I will tell you those 2 right now, and I'm going to tell you the one I won't be going with. I'm not going to be going with the Bills Jets one. The line is currently set at 46.5 because I think New York's defense is pretty good. And so I could see them stifling, but I could also see Buffalo's offense being too overpowered for the New York. So I don't really know what's going to happen in that situation.
That's why picking these kind of lines and over unders in week 1 is just such a crap.
Hard. Yeah.
It's so hard to bet week 1.
Especially a new quarterback coming in. They've had the offseason now to get ready, but you never know what's going to happen week 1 with a new quarterback. Aaron Rodgers could look like an MVP candidate, or he could look washed. I mean, we just don't really have no idea until the season gets underway.
So the game that I'm going to go to for the over-under, I'm taking the over on this, and this may be a little bold. I'm going to the Ohio showdown between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns with an over-under of 47.5. I think Deshaun gets a hand under the. I know it's high. I know it's high, but
It's
I don't
really
think either
high.
defense is that great. And
I
so
think
I, and
I
I
think
but
the
I
Bengals get you 28. I'm worried
that's
about
what I
the
mean.
Browns.
I think the offense clicks a little more this
They're-
year. I think Deshaun's got the offense under his hands. I think Chubb plays really well. I think the offense is clicking this game, and I think there's some high score.
I think it depends on turnovers, right? I think both these
Yeah.
defenses thrive on turnovers. So
Okay.
you're not going to see them stifling each other and
Mm-hmm.
trading 3 and outs. It's just, are they going to be able to finish drives when they need to? And
Yeah.
that'll be what this comes down to.
Hey, that could be that could be the game of the weekend. I think the
Yes.
Cincinnati and
And it's going to be a very, very good game.
Yeah,
Because the
It'll
entire
also
division
be
thinks they
telltale.
have playoff shots, and a week one,
And they do.
like
I think they
a
do
week
all
one
have
game
playoff
here,
shots.
especially being a divisional game. It's just like they need to get after it, set the tone.
Do we want to mention any other games? I mean, obviously the Cowboys Giants is the
I was going to
first
say that's
NFC
one of them we
match.
missed
Yeah,
that we
NFC
didn't
East
talk about.
matchup.
That's going to be a great game.
Yeah, Dallas favored 3.5.
Curious.
What do we think
I
about
think
that?
that's a good line.
Currently,
Right.
the highest line is the 53 for the Lions and Chiefs. That's a
Yeah.
lot of points.
It is a
but
lot of
also
points.
these are some
Especially with
talented
Kelce out.
offenses. So I'm interested to see how that goes. And we already mentioned the lowest. I think the largest to cover is actually that Washington game that we mentioned. The 7 points. Like I said, something about this game feels off with like the lowest over under and the biggest spread.
Yeah.
That's a funk. Something's going on.
Ryan, what's our fun stat, though, about games that teams are favored by more than 10 points? The under almost always hits. Now, we don't have a 10-point spread in any game,
We
but
do have a
these
10-point
big-
spread in the game.
Which one?
Texans Ravens have an
Oh, I
exact
didn't see that
10-point
one.
spread.
I
Baltimore
didn't
is
either.
favored by 10 points.
So that could be an under candidate there. Generally, the under hits when there's that big of a spread. Keep an eye on that one.
On my 16 team parlay, I'll cook that one in.
Yeah, for sure. Lock that one in.
100%. Ryan,
Only
what
other
do
big game that might be a good one that we didn't mention, the Niners and Steelers, I think could actually be a pretty good game in Pittsburgh. See what the Niners are cooking up with Brock Purdy. Is he going to be actually ready to go? Is he going to look like himself from last year? Can the Steelers take that next step as a young team and compete in the division? I think that'll be a good game.
The game that I was looking at that we didn't mention, the Dolphins Chargers. I feel like
I
that
almost-
could be a shootout too.
I almost said Dolphins +3 there because
Yeah.
we know that home field advantage is nothing for the Chargers. The Dolphins fans are going to be out there in
That's true.
force.
That'll be that'll be super. I think people expected that game last year to be a telltale sign. I think this year is even more important between Herbert's play and Tua's play, and if we see if Waddle and Tyreek can maintain that efficiency they had together this year, and also I mean we see Keenan Allen back from injury. Joey Bosa. There's a lot of guys that we got to keep our eye on in that game. So yeah,
I would agree. Exciting weekend coming up, guys. We're
it
only 2 days away from NFL football.
this is true. Robbie, how do you feel about the Panthers' chances against the Falcons?
I will be there and cheering them on in full force. Looking forward to seeing Bryce Young's debut. I think we have a good chance. We're going to get to a headline here that's concerning, but I actually don't think it's as concerning as it seems.
Yeah,
But it's going to be a close game. It's not going to be super high scoring. But I think it should be a good one.
yeah. So we are going to get into some of the NFL headlines, NFL news after that. To reiterate one I already said, Travis Kelce did hyperextend his knee in practice. He may still be available Thursday after the team tests his knee again tomorrow. Reportedly, they are like 99% confident it's not any sort of ACL tear. I don't think there's anything wrong there, but it looks like it was hyperextension. Andy Reid said that he was able to limp off the field, so he didn't have to get carted off or anything like that. But it was funny because my roommate yesterday, he was like, damn, I feel like, because I showed him the stats of how Kelce, like in fantasy, has been number one for 6-7 years or something like that. Yeah. He was like, damn, I really feel like Kelce's due for an injury. And then, of course, this happens today after I drafted him in a fantasy league.
Yep, I drafted him for the first time ever in one of my leagues this year. And it's like, okay, of course now this is going to happen. But
yeah. Obviously, hopefully he is okay, not just from a fantasy perspective, from a personal perspective. So yeah, we will see with that. We'll keep you updated on that. Moving on here, the headline that Robbie was discussing as maybe slightly concerning: two-time Pro Bowl selection Ryan Burns sat out his second straight scheduled practice Monday, and there are no guarantees the Carolina Panthers outside linebacker will be on the field for Sunday's opener against the Atlanta Falcons if he doesn't have a new contract.
Yeah, and that I think they've been discussing this all off season. He's been in practices. He's kind of been sitting out now. He actually said that he is going to be there. He's planning on playing in the game. I think they'll get something figured out. I don't think we're going to see him sit out on Sunday. I could be wrong, but I don't think he's that kind of guy. And he did come out and say that he thinks he's going to play. So
Nice.
could be a nothing burger, but one of those things you got to wait and see.
Of course. I mean, obviously, there's I feel like this year, and granted, I don't know if it's just because, I'm doing a sports podcast, but I feel like this year there's so many more every position contract disputes than any other that I've ever heard of before. Like, it's not just one position. It's not just one market. It's every single player is like, I'm going to get my money this year.
One I don't see on here that's still ongoing is Chris Jones for the Chiefs.
Yep.
I think there's a pretty good chance he actually does sit out, especially on Thursday night. They're still in a pretty hostile contract dispute.
Yes.
So it's another big one that's not on here as well.
That'll be an interesting look for the Chiefs team if they are without him on Thursday. So we'll see. Moving on here, two-time Pro Bowl tight end Kyle Rudolph has retired after a 12-year NFL career, mostly spent with the Minnesota Vikings. He told NFL reporter Jordan Schultz that he will retire as a member of the Vikings, will be honored by the organization around their Week 3 game against the Los Angeles Chargers.
Solid career. I
Very
mean,
good career.
Not looking a Hall of Fame or anything like that, but solid player. Was one of those tight ends that was, you were confident he could do something in the game, show up at least. I don't know how much
he'd be there.
He'd be there.
The Hall of Good.
Hall, yeah, no, I was going to call. He's probably a Vikings Ring of Honor player. Probably. He played there long enough.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, he was there a long time. And then the last one we have here, last NFL headline: the Dallas Cowboys continue to lock up key pieces by signing right tackle Terrence Steele to a 5-year extension worth $86.8 million, including $50 million guaranteed. I mean, Cowboys spending a lot of money on the players that they want to retain, and they still have to retain some other guys between Dak and, I mean, I don't know what Dak's going to command, but I guess we'll see there.
I mean, I feel like that's pretty good value for a right tackle nowadays, especially. I mean, the Cowboys need something to solidify that offensive line. He's 26. I mean, I feel like that's good value for a guy in his mid-20s. I like the signing.
Does the Cowboys handing out these contracts to lock up the rest of their offense, is that a sign that maybe we're looking at Dak Prescott not being with the team for a long future? I mean, is this a sign that Jerry's going to start to look elsewhere?
Trey Lance? No, I mean,
mean, you brought him in for a reason, right? I mean, you brought him in to see if he has anything.
Yeah. I really have no idea. But the thing that kind of stood out to me when I was looking at this contract, I was like, obviously we talked about TJ Hawkinson's contract last week, and then we looked at Travis Kelce's to compare it, and I was like, holy crap, I didn't realize the difference in the market between like the O linemen and tight ends. Like, that's crazy. Like I said, I mean, if you look at the math here, so it's 5-year with 86. I mean, what is that? That's 30. So like 17, so around 17 a year or something like that. And Kelce was making less than 10 a year. Like that's crazy. I couldn't even believe that. I guess we'll see. I think you're right, Robbie. I mean, spending all this money on the other guys, and Dak's getting older, and Dak hasn't been necessarily impressive. Like, he certainly hasn't warranted the contract that he was given previously. So, I mean, I don't know if Jerry's going to spend that money again. I mean, I know Ryan and I have talked about how Jerry's so loyal to his guys between Romo and Witten. I mean, Witten deserved it, so maybe Romo not so much. But he's so loyal to these guys. But I don't know. Dak just hasn't brought you anything at this point.
I could see Dak, though, at this point in his career, also taking a very team-friendly deal. He's to the point where I don't think he's going to command that much money in the open market. So maybe he takes less money so they can continue to build around him. I mean, that's another avenue I could see this going.
100%.
I mean, he's 30 years old.
Yeah, he's getting older.
I mean, obviously, you see players playing a lot longer. I mean, he's a little bit more athletic than some of the other, traditional pocket quarterbacks, but honestly, not too much. I mean, he's coming off a 23-15 season. I mean, does that really make you want to extend the guy for another really long, like highly guaranteed deals that you see all these quarterbacks getting? Right. I don't know.
Yep,
that's a lot of money to cough up.
So, we are looking forward to the NFL. We are looking forward to Week 1. So that is it for the NFL headlines. That's it for our NFL preview and outlook for Week 1. We are going to move into the MLB. We're going to get to the MLB standings, and Ryan is going to do that for us. So kick it over to him.
I just don't want to fucking talk about it, man. The Rangers are going to miss the playoffs.
That's embarrassing. That's pretty embarrassing.
Crazy. They've lost 14 of their last 18. By the way, as of recording at 9 p.m. Eastern on September 5th, the Rangers are down 9-0 in the top of the third against the Astros. The over's already hit. The Rangers haven't contributed.
I mean,
Just
it's going to come down to
absolutely
them.
nuked.
It's going to come down to them and the Stros, right? I mean, they're still only a game back, and really the Mariners too, because the Mariners are basically tied with the Astros, so they're still there. I mean, they're still fighting for it, but they gotta turn around and turn around fast.
The Reds
Yep.
gave us some help last night, beating the Mariners.
Yep.
Reds trying to keep themselves alive. So we'll get right into those standings right now. Out in the AL East, there's only a couple teams to talk about. AL leading, the Baltimore Orioles sit at 86-51, 7-3 in their last 10, all but guaranteed themselves a spot in the postseason. Tampa Bay Rays pretty much all but guaranteed their spot as the number one wild card seed. Currently 3.5 back of the Orioles, so I mean that still has some entertaining value to it for a division winner.
Breaking news real quick. Jose Altuve is 3 for 3 with 3 home runs so far tonight. The man has been on fire recently.
I didn't look deep in the stats. I just saw 9-0 and did not want to click more.
That would be why. So
yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Robbie.
You're welcome.
They've got the Toronto Blue Jays fighting for a AL wild card spot. Potentially could pass the Rangers if and when the Rangers lose tonight. And then the Red Sox and Yankees have played themselves out of postseason contention, essentially. Off the AL Central, the Twins have quietly put together a reasonable division lead. They're 72-66. No one else in the division is even close to being over 500. It's really quite the dumpster fire. I would expect the Twins to get probably swept in the first round of the playoffs. Out west, like Robbie and I just discussed, the Mariners and Astros are actually tied for the division lead. And the Rangers are currently 1 game back. All those teams still having a over 60% chance to make the playoffs. So not all hope is lost, but
only 2 of the 3 can make it.
Yes. So should be very interesting to watch the rest of the way. Out to the National League, the Atlanta Braves are your first team to 90 wins.
Oh. Wait, no, we're wrong. There's 3 wildcard teams now, so actually the Rangers are still in the playoffs as of right now.
I thought there was a rule. I just thought you just came up with a rule that there was you can only have 2 from each division.
No, I was thinking they only had 2 wildcard teams for some reason. Just didn't think about that. They are only a half game up on the Blue Jays though, so it's still tight there.
What the hell?
Very, very close. So Braves first team to 90 wins, 90-46. I mean, they just got to be your World Series favorites right now.
Took 3-4 from the Dodgers in LA this past weekend. Yeah. They cooled off a little bit right after the All-Star break, and since then have been hot again. Yeah, I mean, definitely your favorite going into October, but that doesn't really mean a whole lot in October.
Nope.
So
8-2 in the last 10, actually 14.5 games up on the Phillies, who have actually quietly put together a pretty decent season. 76-61, have played pretty well on the back half of the season. Look primed to take that first wild card spot.
Maybe the scariest wildcard team actually between either the AL or NL. I mean, made it to the World Series just last year, or getting hot at the right time. I think unfortunately the Braves are going to draw them in the first round probably, which sucks.
Yep.
But should be an interesting race down the finish.
Correct. Then you got the Miami Marlins, who are 3 games over 500, still trying to fight for a wild card spot, sitting at right now a 26% chance to make the playoffs. Over to the NL Central, you got the Brewers with a 2.5 game lead, 98% chance to make the playoffs, probably win the division. You got the Cubs 2.5 back, and you got the Reds 5.5 back. So you know the Reds still have some life. They just gotta simply win some games. Out NL West, got the Dodgers, second best team in the NL. Healthy 14 game lead over the second place Arizona Diamondbacks, who are 1 game over the San Francisco Giants. Padres and Rockies, better luck next time. Pirates, Cardinals, better luck next time. And Mets, Nationals, better luck next time. Still got a lot of baseball to be played, unfortunately. We still got legitimately probably 30 games left, 25 to 30 games left. So a lot can still change, but it's been an exciting season, man, for sure. The shortened pitch clock, I think, has brought a lot more excitement back into baseball. Attendance is up across the league. I actually saw for the Phillies, on average, they have 10,000 people attending a game on average, higher than last year.
Yeah.
which is just crazy numbers. The Reds, Rangers are also top 5 in that with like 6,000, 7,000 respectively. So people are flocking back to some of those ballparks. It's good to see.
One, and being in the ballpark and knowing you're not going to be there longer than 3 hours is
Right.
great. I mean,
Yes,
I've been to 2
exactly.
Braves games, and like it actually feels nice to be there because the game is moving fast,
Yep.
and you're not going to be stuck there for 4 hours, right? I mean,
And
2.5
MLB
is
says
great for a baseball game.
MLB says these rules are here to stay in the playoffs as well, which I think
Yep.
some people were worried about them like going back to potentially change that. No, so and like I said, it shows it with the attendance. Even teams that
Yep.
have like been kind of struggling see their attendance up $2,000 to $3,000 or $2,000 to $3,000.
They make a lot more money having people in those ballparks than they do watching it on TV.
Yep.
So if you know, they don't really care about the lost commercial revenue or anything like that. Getting people in those stadiums and watching games is huge for the MLB.
So
yeah, thank you, Ryan, for going through the standings. We have a few MLB headlines to cover here. Shohei Ohtani is still evaluating medical options on the tear in his right ulnar collateral ligament, but his agent made 2 things clear Monday afternoon. Ohtani will be ready to at least hit at the start of next season, regardless of how much longer he plays in 2023, and he will remain a two-way player down the road.
what is his agent supposed to say? No, he's fucking washed. like this. That is such non-news because they still have to get medically like. He's rehab, all this stuff.
And he's still got to get fucking paid this summer, too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to go collect that bag.
His agent might say he's Jesus Christ himself just to make sure he gets the fucking bag.
Are you sure that he's not? Have you ever seen Jesus and Shohei in the same room? I don't think so.
I'm going to say he's closer to Jesus than I am. I'm just going to put that out there.
Moving on here, Los Angeles Dodgers starter Julio Urias was arrested on felony domestic violence charges late Sunday. The second domestic violence arrest in the past 4 years for the soon-to-be free agent pitcher. He got out, I believe he got out on like it was $2,600 bail or something along those lines. But yeah,
just a bad look.
Yep. Moving on here to the last thing, the Cy Young favorites have come out in some of the odds there, so we can go through it real quick. There's 5 guys in each league here. So starting with the American League Cy Young, the favorite is currently Garrett Cole of the New York Yankees at a -250
on a team that's under 500. That's crazy.
Fuck Garrett Cole, just the absolute meat riding. Sorry.
And then Luis Castillo for the Seattle Mariners at +410. Then you have Sonny Gray of the Minnesota Twins at +1,200. Tied with him is Kevin Gausman of the Toronto Blue Jays at +1,200. And then right under them is Framber Valdez of the Houston Astros at +4,000. So pretty big drop off after that 4 slot. Any good bets there? Any good value?
I think the NL is a little bit more interesting, and I think some of those lines are a little bit offensive to two of the Cy Young candidates. If you don't mind, I was gonna cover this one. You got Blake Snell on the Padres. Another team that's under 500. Just want to point that out there.
Stupid.
At the favorite at -230. Justin Steele, the Cubs, is sitting at +300, and Spencer Strider on the Braves at +550. Now, personally, I think Strider has had the best season.
The problem is the Strider hasn't pitched enough innings. Strider, he has more strikeouts than anyone else, but he only pitches like 6 innings on a good start. He just doesn't go deep into games, which is what's hurting him. And he had a little bit of a stretch there where his ERA kind of ballooned up as the after All-Star break, where all of the Braves kind of fell asleep for a little bit. That has hurt him. Zach Gallen at +3,000 also feels a little disrespectful. I think he was in the lead for the Cy Young for most of the year as well. And has really fallen off there in terms of odds. So I would agree with Ryan. I think the NL is a little bit more interesting. If Strider can maybe have a couple more deep runs in games and pitch well, I think you could see him start to jump up there. But at this point in the season, I feel like it's hard to change the Cy Young race because you only have 3 or 4 more starts.
Yeah.
But just game or innings pitched, all this shit aside, Strider has pitched 160 innings and has struck out 245 batters. Think, he is dominant when he's pitching. Hey, I don't know. He's a stud, an actual stud. It's pretty impressive. He's gonna be very, very helpful for that Atlanta Braves postseason run.
We're going to move on from baseball and the MLB. We're gonna play a little game here, just to break it up. We're gonna hit a quick wavelength here. A little TikTok game. So each of us, we're gonna do the same thing we did last time. We're gonna do each of us. We're gonna do 2 questions to each person, and then we're gonna move on to college football. But we're gonna do this real quick, just for a little break, just for a little fun outside of sports.
Woo!
So who wants to go first, gentlemen? Who wants to guess first?
You want to explain the rules for our viewers at a potential?
If you're joining us for the first time, I'm happy you're here. Please click that subscribe. Oh my God! Please click
Subscribe.
Please click that subscribe button, the like button, comment below with what you want to see, from us, what you want to see from our other socials, share everything like that. So the way that Wavelength works, essentially, two out of the three of us are going to pick one number, and the third guy will not know about this. Basically, the third guy's objective is to try to guess this number. In order to do that, he will ask questions to the other two, something along the lines of, give me a fast food restaurant. And if the number is 8 and Ryan thinks McDonald's is an 8 out of 10, Ryan would say McDonald's. And then after you ask a few questions, you kind of narrow it down. And you get to the number, you guess the number. And if you guess the same number that they came up with, then you win. And it's all a good fun time. If you don't, then you're an idiot. And we're all idiots because none of us got it last time.
We were all off by one, though. So this is the week we lock in. Trust your gut, fellas. We learned last time. Every single one of us like that was the number I thought, and I didn't go with it.
Yeah,
stick your gut. Let's get some dubs, right?
Let's get the bread. You know what I'm saying?
All right, I can go first. All right,
all
right. I'll give you guys 5 seconds.
One is the worst, 10 is the best. Just
correct.
Just throwing that out there for our guest.
All right, you guys got 5 seconds.
3.
We're going 3.
All right, we're ready.
We locked in.
Ryan,
what's up?
Give me a video game.
We're gonna go WWE 2K17.
I'm conflicted because I know Connor really likes WWE games. I myself personally am not a huge fan of them.
So you gotta wonder if he's pandering or how he's doing this. Oh,
okay. We gotta think about that. I'm a little lost right now, but we'll clear it up here.
All right.
I apologize,
Connor. That's okay. Connor.
Yeah.
Give me a milkshake flavor.
Should have asked me that one.
I don't know your ice cream preferences. Butter pecan.
Okay, I feel like that's a solid flavor. Nothing too crazy, but solid. I want to say I'm sitting like a 5 or 6 right now. I'm saying that's where I'm at in my head. All right, let's go back to Ryan here. I got to think of a good question to start to narrow this down. Give me an NFL quarterback based on how handsome they are.
I love it. And we did a tier list. Actually, we never did it on the channel.
We've never done it on the podcast. Yeah,
that was the inspiration for the podcast. We did a bracket. Actually, it was NBA players.
We're gonna go with Davis Mills.
He's got a really long neck, like a terrifying,
obscenely long
neck. But I don't feel like he's like horribly looking outside of his giraffe neck, right? I think other than that, he's all right. All right, Connor, we got to lock in this last question. I'm a little lost, fellas. I don't feel like I have a good pulse on this one.
I got you.
Give me a state.
God, I got blasted in our states draft.
Connor, you have
I'm New Jersey.
Oh, this is low, but not the butter pecans throwing me off. Everything else would put me lower, but butter pecans good, man. I think we missed on that one. Gonna go 3.
Oh, he got it. Yes.
After an absolute toss by Connor.
Butter pecan at a 3?
I don't like butter. I don't like nut flavor.
God.
I didn't know. That's why I said I didn't know your ice.
Pause. That's right. We clutched up. The New Jersey thing really brought me down.
I had to throw you down.
As soon as I said, you know what to do, Connor's like, all right, well.
Yeah.
I didn't know your ice cream preference. What would you have said for a 3? I feel like that's kind of video games hard too for a 3.
I would have said banana.
Yeah, banana, peaches, maybe like some fruit. I probably would have, because if I'm getting a milkshake, I don't want there to be fruit in it. You know, I wanted to just be chocolatey shit. That's what
I also thought banana. I should have gone banana. Damn it.
My roommates
love banana stuff, so I should have. Damn it, I should have said banana.
Weird.
It's weird. Yeah, it's a weird.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah, Gabe's really obsessed with the banana shake at Whataburger.
It doesn't shock me. He's an Astros fan, so
love you, Gabe. Ryan, you go next because we're going in the reverse order this time. So Ryan goes next.
All right, you guys got 5 seconds.
Okay,
7 for the viewers at home.
Yes, sir.
Robbie, give me an engineering class.
That's great.
Like in terms of like In terms of what, like how difficult it is?
I'm
Or...
gonna leave. I'm not gonna tell you
Open-ended.
how to answer this question.
Open-ended.
Just give me some.
Okay. All right. Modern manufacturing practices with Frank the Tank.
That's a good one. That's on the upper end of the spectrum there. Wasn't a very hard class. Wasn't a very interesting class. But he's a nice guy. So we are at least a 7, but we're not quite at the top tier. I'm 7 to 8 right there. Connor.
Bryson Tiller.
He's up there for you. But he's not quite your favorite. Okay, I'm still in the 7 to 8 range. Yeah, I'm pretty solidly between those two numbers. Maybe leaning slightly more towards 8, but we can narrow that down. Robbie, give me a football scheme, offensive scheme.
These are great.
This is a good one. This is a good one.
Yeah, these are great. Just for reference for that first question that Ryan asked, Ryan and Robbie studied the same thing at school, so that's why Ryan was able to ask.
That was an inside thing for sure.
Yeah.
Football, football offensive scheme.
I know you're a connoisseur of 2K13, NCAA 2K13.
Yeah, shit goes hard.
Oh, the new one's coming out.
Power Eye.
Oh, that's just a cult favorite.
The Power Eye.
I'm leaning I'm definitely kind of in the 8 category, knowing you. It's not quite the triple option, which you would have ranked really high, but it's up there for definitely top 3 probably of your offensive scheme preferences. Connor, I need you to bring this home for me.
All right. One of the best podcast clips ever involving the Power Eye offense.
That's a good call.
I gotta nail this question down. Give me a past family vacation destination. I'm really trying to get personal with some of these. Really trying to nail this down.
Unfortunately, I did not become sentient until I was 14. So anything before that in my life, I do not remember.
My man's just spawned at 14. He just showed up one day.
I'd say you're doing pretty good for only being like mentally alive for 7 years. I mean,
that's a good point. Yeah.
The brain development goes crazy. I'm gonna say the Grand Canyon.
The Grand Canyon was top 3 for me. But I think this is a cry for help because Connor did not enjoy this trip as much. See, for me, this trip for me is a 9. Connor, it's probably like a 5. So I think we might have to split the difference. I'm really sitting at like a 7.45, and I think I might round down. I think I'm going to lock in 7.
That is correct. That's well done.
I'm just so good.
We're on it tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, the Power Eye, I would put the triple option and the spread option above that. So that was why we weren't going too high there. But
I was just simply dialed. I mean, I don't think there's any
we were right around it all day.
The Grand Canyon was designed to pull you down on my end, just because
I know. As soon as I said as soon as he said the Power Eye, as soon as I said the Power Eye, and he went high, I was like, Connor needs to say something like at a 5, and he nailed it.
Yeah.
He absolutely came through.
Just pissed on it. Beautiful.
Let's go 3 for 3, Connor.
I got it.
He's gonna fucking throw this, and I know it, but we're gonna do it anyways. It's a 2.
Ryan. Pixar movie.
Cars 2.
Oh Jesus. Oh no. Oh no. This is in the 1 to 3 range. I'd be insulted if you put it at a 3, to be quite honest. Oh no. Don't feel good about that one. Robbie, give me like a chip. Give me like a specific like flavor chip. Like for example, something like a Cool Ranch Dorito, like something like that.
Veggie Strauss.
It's gotta be right. Ryan, give me a dog breed.
What if I don't know the specific breed, but I'm picturing it?
Can you just
describe it?
Can you describe it? Yeah,
we can play picture here.
Exactly.
Little white drop kick with shit in their eyes.
Like a toy poodle.
Yeah, like a toy poodle kind of thing.
Not quite poodle. It's just one of those really like crusty old white dogs that you see.
Yeah, we know what you're talking about. We got it.
Yeah. Robbie, give me a U.S. city.
Memphis.
That's pretty bad. That's All right, I'm thinking here. It's either a 1 or 2. It can't be anything else than a 1 or 2. Cars 2, in my opinion, is the worst Pixar movie. So I would put that at a 1. Ryan literally described a dog with poop in its eyes. So I feel like that doesn't bode well for anything more than a 1. Memphis is. Do you go Detroit? Do you go Detroit if it's a 1, or do you stick with? I mean, Memphis is the Detroit of Tennessee. What was the third thing I asked? What was the other thing I asked you? Veggie straws. I'm gonna go 1.
It was a 2.
I threw.
It was a 2.
Damn it, Cars 2 is so bad.
I don't know what other movie is like.
Yeah. I would have said Soul. Although I think Connor likes Soul.
Soul's fine. I should have gone 2.
The chips one was hard because I like almost every chip there is, so I didn't really know what to put.
What's in like just above Cars 2? I didn't think there was anything in the fucking like stratosphere with Cars 2.
Probably not.
Yeah,
Connor, I said while you were gone that you were going to throw. I did in fact put that out in the world, and then you threw. So, or did Ryan throw?
That's on me.
I kind of threw the dog breed. I feel like I couldn't think of anything that was like a bad dog.
I would have said like a Chihuahua.
Yeah, maybe. That's hilarious. The only thing ranked above Cars 2, Rotten Tomatoes wise, is Cars 3. That's actually pretty funny.
That's tough.
I apologize. I should have gone to. I was thinking 2, and then Cars. Yeah, Cars 2 brought me down.
Cars 2 really threw it off. Yeah. I went Memphis because Memphis, isn't great, but they do have good ribs at least. Like, they got something going for them.
True. I'll give you that.
That yeah, Memphis actually, and the music scene is great.
You're right. Memphis dragged me up a little bit, but then I was like, I don't know. Cars 2 threw me off. All right, we're gonna move on here from Wavelength. Hopefully, you guys enjoy that. We are going to get into college football. That's what most of you guys came here for, and we know that. We love it. Unfortunately, we do have to cover some of the results that happened in this past weekend. Colorado beat TCU 45-42. That's what we'll say about that.
What we didn't pick last weekend. We were not.
I don't remember hosting that.
Any of you curious of the pick results? I went 4-1 because I'm built diff. Connor had a paltry 2-3. Ryan at 1-4. It's a tough way to start off the year, but he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back.
It's all right. We're okay.
Yeah, I like to apologize. No one should be riding with me. Just fade me, honestly.
One game we absolutely have to talk about that we didn't really talk about on a preview on the last pod is Clemson and Duke.
Yeah, holy crap.
Clemson fucking threw.
They had predicted that they would win the ACC.
That would be me. I'm just off to start.
I went on a whole rant about how the times of past Dabo bye, and they're not going to be good this year. So
Ohio State looks bad. They were my Big Ten team. Texas didn't really look great against Rice. Like I legitimately might be 1-4 after week 1.
Georgia didn't look great either. Georgia's only up on UT Martin like 14-0 at the half.
Yeah.
Did you see what Dabo said after the game? He was just like, "That was the weirdest game I've ever been a part of." Dabo, you just lost by 3 scores to do.
My favorite thing, I was watching the game last night, and they kept talking about Clemson's kicker. They have this freshman kicker, and he's been hitting from 70 in practice. Like, he's really good. He went 0 for 2 on field goals, so he got them both fucking blocked. And all they did all game was talk about how good he was. And he got both of them blocked.
Dude, and I didn't know this, but Dabo is. I did know this, that Dabo is super against the transfer portal, but I don't think I knew to what degree that Clemson does not have any transfer players.
And they're not really doing NIL stuff either. That's what I'm talking about. The times are passing Dabo by. Like, he wants to fight against these rules, and that's fine. But at some point, you just got to use what's given to you. You got to use all the advantages that you had. And if you continue down this path of not being, you go back to old Clemson, you're going to Clemson, all these games and lose games you shouldn't lose. Well, you're not going to be able to attract any transfers anymore.
Yeah. Let's hone in on a few games here. Obviously, the most notable one of the weekend being between the Colorado Buffaloes and the TCU Horned Frogs in a game that, even though Colorado won, I thought TCU looked good. I don't think TCU ever looked bad. I mean, it was a complete shootout. Like,
that fourth quarter was insane.
Oh, it was insane. It was incredible. But yeah, so Colorado with the win, 45-42. Shadur Sanders setting the Colorado passing yards record in a single game with 510 yards.
And Travis Hunter looking like
Travis
maybe
Hunter,
a legit Heisman
yes.
threat, like
Double,
actually over
yeah.
100 yards receiving, an interception, a couple broken up passes beyond the interception, like doing it all.
Could have had a couple
Just-
touchdowns too.
Should have had a couple other picks too. I mean, if
Yeah.
he catches a couple more of those balls, and it's one of the greatest performances we've ever seen.
He 11 catches playing both
I know.
ways, and he hit 11 catches,
And he had a pick in the end
yeah.
zone.
Yeah,
So
he did.
I saw a stat that he is on pace to play 200 snaps more than or 200 snaps less than the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl run.
Jesus,
Like played, like Kansas City had.
The crazy thing is, if there's anyone to teach him how to manage, not necessarily playing both sides, but playing that much sport, it's Deion Sanders. Because
Yeah,
Deion
100%.
Sanders was playing for the Falcons and running across the city to go play for the Braves in the same night. I mean, the guy knows how to manage that, and they look legit, guys. They looked really good. And you're right, Connor. TCU played a good game.
Yeah.
Just Colorado got that last score they needed.
And I don't know if y'all saw, but his Travis Hunter, before the season started, his Heisman odds were at plus 8,000. They moved to plus 2,200 after the game. So a massive line shift there, obviously. So I mean, it could
Feels
be
like
the
you
first
should
time
still
that-
throw money at that. Honestly,
I mean,
like
yeah,
crazy-
not to like get too ahead of
It
ourselves.
really
but
depends
I mean,
on how well Colorado does.
Yeah,
I mean, I think they have another game this weekend that's a litmus test of sorts to see if it was a one game thing where no one knows what to look for, so they win that game.
I
We'll see if they keep it
cannot
up.
call a game against Nebraska a litmus test.
agreed.
But I think it will be.
God, do you think it's a come down moment? Do you think it's
I think that's the key though, right? Like,
Yeah.
is can they keep riding high? Or are they gonna not show up? I think that's what you have to look out for.
I remember talking to some guys about the Travis Hunter and the Heisman odds and stuff, and I was like, the only thing that I'd be slightly worried about in his case is that I don't know if it'll be a case of like Shadur Sanders is on the same team, and if he continues to play at that level too, does that affect the voting in any way?
But if he's catching 11 balls a game and at the same time playing well on defense, like
Yeah.
I know your quarterback's gonna have good stats, but I mean you're playing on both sides of the ball. I don't think it's much of a discussion at that point.
It's correct. No, agreed. Colorado, but yeah, so going through a few more results from the weekend, something that I was shocked by, I don't think really many people expected them, and granted, the opponent wasn't that great. I don't think anybody expected Oklahoma to hang 73 on Arkansas State. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Hey, Arkansas? They're just not good.
No,
Agreed.
agreed, but
Butch Jones is their coach because I sure as hell didn't know that until I saw him like breaking down after the game. I have no
that
idea.
was sad. Felt bad for him. But that was crazy. Yeah, I didn't expect them to put that many numbers up. Some more notable scores: Oregon put 81 on Portland State.
Did you see how many push-ups the Duck did?
546 from like that.
Yeah, there's just a picture of him just collapsed on the side. That was hilarious.
Hey, guess what? My prediction. One of my predictions was right. Michael Penix Jr. threw for 5 touchdowns in the Washington
Good
Boise
call.
State game.
Good
So I
call.
did call that.
And Washington looked damn good. I mean, Boise State is a good team and is probably going to win the Mountain West. And Washington went out there and demolished them.
I did not think that was how the game was going to go. I thought Washington was going to get caught flat-footed, and it was just it was just out-talented, honestly,
Yeah.
is what it came down to.
As Ryan mentioned earlier, Ohio State only beating Indiana 23-3. That is concerning
And
for
they're-
Ohio State, man.
Bad,
And they're
dude.
currently
They look
in
bad.
the middle of a QB controversy, and I think they're picking between shit and dog shit. I mean, they definitely don't have national contending quarterbacks pioneering that
Yeah.
offense. And then you also had Michigan, who only beat ECU 30-3, and they didn't look great at times either. So there was a lot of pretty highly ranked teams that just came out of the gates really flat-footed.
We've been talking about for a while. This year's wide open. I mean, there's not that one team that I think you're going to see just dominate all year.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about a domination, though. We got to look at the Sunday night game, the marquee matchup, LSU versus Florida State. And man, did
Second
Florida
half domination.
State shut up some of the haters.
Jordan
I was a
Travis is him. He's
He-
him.
I was a hater.
And I said that last week. That's another one I called. I gotta take the wins where I can get them, fellas. This is another one that I said was going to happen. And Florida State looks by far the best team in the ACC.
Yeah.
Florida State was at home. We're going to call it at home. There was like, I don't know, 10 LSU fans in that stadium. It was pretty crazy home field advantage. The Noles were feeling the energy. Everyone's going to talk about Florida State's offense. The Florida State's front seven shut down
alive.
LSU. I was shocked by how just the surge from the defensive line, and Jaden Daniels, besides the 140-yard run that he got, which, you know, obviously he's a talented guy, he's going to get his occasionally. LSU's run game couldn't get anything going besides Jaden Daniels.
Florida State's defensive lineman just looked 3 steps faster than LSU's offensive line. I mean, it was like every time that they ran the ball, there were 3 hats there. It didn't matter where they ran it to, you know, what scheme. Like they were just had hats on the ball like that. No, they looked. I mean, obviously they started off a little slow, and the second half, I mean, just blew them out.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, as Ryan said, Florida and Robbie said, Florida State looking dominant, especially in that second half. The first half was much closer, and then the second half they made those adjustments, and Florida State came out swinging. So for props to Florida State, best team of the ACC. It looks like you don't want to overreact too much after week 1. Obviously, some guys are just getting their feet set under them or whatever, but we'll see. Oregon State having a great game against San Jose State. DJ looking great. I will not really be able to pronounce his last name, so I will just call him DJ. DJU. Yeah, there you go. Some other ones, obviously the Alabama boys in front of me. They beat MTSU 56-7. So good look there. Jalen Milroe looked decent. I mean,
better.
He looked
Looked
good.
improved.
Yeah, looked improved.
I still think, honestly, I'm not as concerned about his passing now after that. I think it's going to be just some of the decision making. There were some reads that he made that definitely just were not the correct read.
He made one really bad throw into coverage. Other than that, I didn't see him make an awful read. He made one where he threw in double coverage that probably should have been picked off. Other than that, I thought he made good decisions, and he's going to have a lot more opportunity moving forward to have some design runs. A lot of his runs weren't really like the drawn up plays.
Right.
Like he did a good job of improvising, and obviously they're saving that because they don't want to show Sark anything for this week.
Yeah.
But
I was kind of saying more of his, like, some of the RPOs they were running. I just thought he, like, either let the ball go or like pulled it to her. I don't know. It just seemed like some of those RPOs seemed a little off, but I'm sure they're running a 2-page playbook.
Right. He seems steady enough to run the offense, and I think that's all Alabama needs.
Yep.
A few more results.
We got to talk about the North Carolina-South Carolina game.
That's what I was just getting to. The game that we were all incorrect about. North Carolina beating South Carolina in the Duke's Mayo Classic 31-17.
Mac Brown gets his 100th win. I think he's the first coach to get 100 wins at 2 different colleges.
Oh, that's cool. I did not know.
That's right. Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool stat. I think North Carolina is just going to be a mid-teens team that's really not going to rock the boat, going to lose to Florida State, probably lose another stupid game somewhere else and just be like 10-2.
Yeah. I forgot this year the ACC has done away with divisions. We no longer have Coastal Madness anymore. It'll just be the top 2 teams. So something to keep an eye on in that, because that is new. The Pac-12 obviously did that last year, and now the ACC joining suit there. So
the Gamecocks, Robbie, they're disappointing us again, man. The second year in a row, they're just not.
I know.
What the hell?
Watch them like upset like Georgia or something still. Just like they don't actually do anything, but they just pull another couple upsets out of them.
Yeah. And then, I mean, not much else here. Penn State got a win. Tulane got a win. USC, Caleb Williams looking really good. I think he also threw for 5 touchdowns against Nevada. Kansas State with a dominant showing over Southeastern Missouri. Wisconsin with a good showing over Buffalo, 38-17 win. Notre Dame dominant over Tennessee State. As Ryan said, Texas is looking a little shaky, but still got an relatively easy win over Rice, 37-10. And then Ole Miss getting a big win over Mercer, 73-7. Tennessee with a big win over Virginia. That quarterback looks good. I don't think people thought that he would be as good after Hendon Hooker, but Tennessee, Milton looks great. So yeah, I mean those are all the results from week 1. We are going to get into our pick'em week 2. Ryan, we need to do better this week.
Y'all got to pick it up now. Y'all pick it
up. Week 2, Robbie, please announce the games we'll be picking.
Yeah, so I'm giving you guys a chance of redemption here. I want to give you a chance after what happened last week. First pick'em game, another big noon kickoff for Coach Prime's Colorado Buffaloes playing the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Indeed. The media is not tricking y'all. Colorado wins this game.
You're just shameless. Also, real quick, we did not mention the biggest beat, like spread beat in week 1, which is Texas State beating Baylor.
Oh my God, we didn't even talk about Baylor.
Not that we thought Baylor was going to really do anything, but like a 27-point spread cover or like money line is pretty wild.
Baylor is either winning the Big 12 or in last place, and they're never in the middle.
Crazy.
Like, they're never in the middle. It's insane. You guys actually want to know what the line is for this Nebraska-Colorado game? Because this is surprising.
It's low. Isn't it like 3?
Minus 3. It's a field
3.
goal advantage for the Buffs. Disrespect. They're still disrespecting my man.
At home, that's a pick 'em.
That's insane.
ESPN has Nebraska at a 60%, 40% chance to win this game. It is a beautiful 66-degree projected kickoff time at big noon. You know, this is the most excited Colorado.
That's a 10 a.m. local kick, by the way.
Yeah. This is the most excited Colorado has been for a football game, and I'm going to call it a decade.
They have the same amount of wins now as they did last season.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Boulder is going to be rocking. Absolutely
yeah.
rocking. I think Colorado. I would have picked Colorado to win this game probably before I saw the TCU game. I think Colorado wins, covers the spread, and I think the over hits. And I think the over hits pretty safely. Actually, I don't know about the over. I just looked at 60 points. I think Colorado gets like 45 of those, and Nebraska gets like 14.
It seems high.
I mean, if I picked them last week, I'm not going to stop riding with the Buffs. I mean, this is a win easily for Colorado.
TCU is a better team than Nebraska is. It's like I don't think there's any question about that.
No,
so
not
it's
at all.
like,
and I get to see Matt Rule lose again. Sign me up. All right.
Nebraska fans just cannot catch a fucking break.
It's so bad. Yeah.
Next, we have one of my favorite rivalry games, especially early in the year. One of those early year games. Some people call it the Cy-Hawk here on the Bros of the Berg podcast. We call it El Asico. Yeah. We have the Iowa Hawkeyes versus the Iowa State Cyclones.
Indeed.
Does anybody win this game?
Does someone have to win this game?
You know who wins this game is the people that don't watch this game. That's who wins.
Yeah.
One year this game will be good, right?
I have a fun fact. We actually did not talk about this offseason regarding Iowa State offensive coordinator Brian Ferentz, who is the son of head coach Kurt Ferentz. His contract was amended this year, fellas. And part of that contract requires the Iowa Hawkeyes to average 24 points a game over the course of the season. Otherwise, his contract is no longer valid and he will be fired as offensive coordinator of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
That's crazy.
But man, did Iowa hit it in game one, baby. You were averaging 24.
I think it's 25 things. They didn't hit it in the first game against Utah State. That's why I saw it pop up.
That's insane.
But what I was gonna say, the crazy thing about this, if they average that many points, which like it's college football, you should average 25 points a game. He also gets $100,000 signing bonus if you just average 25 points a game.
There you go.
If they don't hit that, Iowa better fucking donate that money to that hospital. If they make them watch all these games again, I expect that money to go straight to that hospital. But we got to make a pick in this game. Anyone know where this game is? This is
in Ames, baby. And you want to hear the fucking line for this just gem?
The over-under. Yeah, give it to us, Ryan.
This gem at a 3:30 kick. 87 degrees, warm afternoon in Iowa. The over-under is 36.5 for El Asico.
Under.
It's got to be.
That's rough.
Who's
watching
this?
This? I don't. Who's watching this game? I'm just going to reiterate.
It's me. I'm a sicko. I'm going to watch this game because I love it.
I'm a sicko. I guess I'll go first. I will pick the first team in this game that we are all dreading. I'm going to go with the team that I actually predicted to win the Big 12 because I was out of options. They weren't my first choice. We're going to go with the Iowa State Cyclones. And we're going to take Ames. Iowa State's different than Ames, man. I mean, Oklahoma State knows that for damn sure. Iowa State is going to pick up this game. They're going to have a good day in Ames. I really am not convinced either way. So I'm just going to go with the team. I'm going to for continuity's sake, I'm going to go with the team that I predicted to win the Big 12. I'm going to go Iowa State here.
You know, Connor, since they're in Ames, and they were really disrespected last week. I brought this up. They were only favored by a touchdown against Northern Iowa, which for the life of me, I could not understand that line. I think Iowa State covers the 4, and I think Iowa State just straight up wins this game. Iowa I cannot believe they're ranked once again. Don't know how.
Crazy.
McNamara may not play. So God knows who's hucking the rock if he can't start. No, it's Iowa State. Iowa State wins this game.
Fellas,
not so fast.
Iowa State has not won El Asico in Ames since 2011.
Wow. Guess what also they did in 2011? They beat the Pokes.
That is
pain.
correct. Yeah. We're going with another not so fast. Iowa's defense,
no.
I think, is going to be enough to carry them. It's going to be ugly. The under is going to hit.
Yeah.
But they're coaching for their lives over there in Iowa. I think they get it done. They've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the last 7 after losing last year. They won the 6 before that. I think they start another streak here. Give me the Hawkeyes and a cover.
Nice.
Give me a score, Rob. What are we thinking? If you're thinking under and the Iowa cover, it's got to be something low.
13-5.
Like 20 to
20 to
13.
20 to 13 was the number I had in mind. Yeah, that's what I had locked in. Yeah.
Just a gross game.
For our next matchup, we have a top 25 matchup.
This
fellas.
is my
And
second
a lot of people
favorite game of the week.
A lot of people probably don't realize this is going to be a top 25 matchup heading into
Mhm.
week 2. We have the Ole Miss Rebels playing the Tulane Green Wave.
This will be the game of the weekend, 100%.
Alabama, Texas. I think that's a bad take.
No. Like maybe I think this will end up being the best game. Like I think I mean I won't spoil anything, but I think this will end up being the best game.
Okay, all right.
So that's why I say that. Who wants to predict?
Okay, continue.
Oh, okay, I guess I'm gonna go with it's kind of an SEC heavy weekend for me, and I'm gonna continue that. I'm gonna go with Ole Miss here. I'm gonna go with the Rebels. Tulane obviously showcasing what they could do in that first game, and also obviously in the bowl game against USC last season. I think everybody was like the underdog, the Cinderella story, just in a single game last year against USC. And I think everybody had except for USC fans, obviously, had a really fun time watching that game in AT&T Stadium. I think that Tulane it was unbelievable. I mean, you saw the student section, people were crying, people were going crazy over all that stuff. Tulane, the Green Wave, I'm a big, I sympathize with them. I enjoy Tulane. I actually toured Tulane for one of the colleges that I was, potentially going to go to. But unfortunately, I think Ole Miss will come out here, and I think Ole Miss will come out with the win. I think it'll only be like a field goal, though. I literally could see this being identical to the Colorado TCU.
They're
like
7-point favorites despite playing in New Orleans.
I think that's too. I think they cover, but I think Ole Miss wins. I think Ole Miss gets the win here.
65.
Great pick, Connor. I think the score.
Of course so.
I think the score is 38-35 Ole Miss.
I can see it.
I think Ole Miss wins the game,
by 3.
but it's going to be a hot and steamy one down in New Orleans. Projected 95 degrees.
Woo!
People are going to be cramping. I mean, yeah, that's disgusting for like second weekend in September.
Yeah,
that's gross. No one's going to be looking forward to
Is
that.
it? It's like 6. What time is the game at?
Oh, it's a 3:30 kick. I mean, it's going to be
It's going to be miserable, like actually miserable.
Yeah.
Before I make my pick, I just want to give a shout out to Tulane's quarterback last week. Maybe one of the most efficient stat lines I've ever seen in my life against South Alabama. My man went 14 of 15 for 294 yards and 4 tutties.
Holy crap! Yeah,
It's a hell of a stat line. That being said, I agree with my co-host. Tulane is a great story last year. I think they're going to be a really good team again this year.
Yep.
Ole Miss has too much firepower. I actually think that they cover the 7. But I do like Ole Miss to win this one down in the Bayou.
At this, what do you like about the 65? You think it over or under?
I think over. I think we could see a nice, kind of early shootout where Ole Miss maybe pulls ahead by a couple of scores at the very end of the game.
I think it's a sweat. I think it's an over sweat.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think it'll be a tight one. I think that's a really, really good line.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have the Texas A&M Aggies rolling into Miami to play the Miami Hurricanes.
Anybody excited about this one either?
I think it'll be a fun game. I think they're both. I think they're both super mid, so it'll be a really close game. But that's why I picked it. I think it'll actually be a very competitive game.
Woo woo! I'm on the SEC train this weekend. A&M, move on. I think the SEC does well this weekend. Actually, if you guys didn't see last week, I'm not talking about you guys specifically, but the people that are listening. The Pac-12 was the only undefeated team throughout the entire weekend. And then I think it's that every other conference had at least 2 losses. So shout out to the Pac-12. I think the SEC shows out this weekend. I think Ole Miss wins. I think A&M wins. Book it.
Not so fast, my friend.
Oh,
Yeah, there it is.
Not
Ryan getting his first not so fast into the year.
my friend. Playing in the Hard Rock 3:30 kick. ESPN actually favors Miami in this matchup while Vegas favors A&M. So there's some funkiness going on. Line is also only at 51. I'm again anticipating the over hitting on this. Both teams played against absolute cupcakes. I think Miami has enough talent. I still somehow think A&M is overrated. I don't believe they belong in the top 25. I take the Canes in a close one. I think they take the Canes by a field goal.
I'm with my very handsome friend here, Ryan. I think Miami gets it done at home. I agree. I just A&M won 7-5 last year, and there's nothing that tells me they're going to be any better than that this year.
Yep.
I don't know that they got any better. I don't really have any faith in Jimbo Fisher.
Correct.
This being in Miami, give me the Canes.
All right, I respect that. I don't know. I just feel like there's a little. Most of these games, I'm really impartial, to be completely honest. I could go either way, but I'm gonna go
awful
0-5. Just I hope everyone knows.
Podcast host. Anyways,
yeah, I'm pretty bad.
Facts. The last game, the game I think will be most people are anticipating to be the game of the weekend. A top 10 showdown now to Texas.
Nope, Texas still at 11.
No.
Top 15 showdown. In
Can't believe
Tuscaloosa,
ESPN
Alabama.
didn't scooch them up. That's
right.
Crazy.
We have Alabama Crimson Tide playing host to the Texas Longhorns, and the second game of their home and home series. So, obviously, it was a tight game last year. Alabama pulled it out. Can the Longhorns keep this one close on the road in Tuscaloosa?
I've got a few notes about this game. I got a few points about this game that I'm going to talk about last year, and it's mostly in reference to the game that happened between these two last year. Obviously, we've stated numerous times, if Quinn Ewers stays in the game, Texas wins that game. I don't think it's much of a debate. Go argue with a wall. So just to read you some of the stats. To reach some of the stats from last year, it was an ugly game, and I think people forget it last year. Obviously, a 20-19 score. It was so defensive. It was the best game of the Texas defense's life. Like they were playing out of their mind. And it was the same thing with Alabama. After Quinn went out of the game, the same thing happened with Alabama's defense. To remind you guys of what happened, Alabama had 15 penalties last year against Texas, and Will Anderson responsible for a number of those. And people forget how crazy it was, especially in that first half, how many penalties Alabama had, how bad that hurt them. Also, another indication of how ugly this game was, third down efficiency. Alabama was 5 for 15 on third down, and Texas was 3 for 12 on third down. So they were just punting the ball back and forth to each other, and it ended up being a 20-19 game. Bijan Robinson had a really poor game, only averaging like 2.7 yards a carry. I think this year it's a little more offensive. I don't think the defenses are as involved this year. I think that the offenses get clicking a little more. That being said, I think Alabama wins this game by at least 2 scores. I don't think they even let Texas in the game this year. I think Saban has adjusted his game plan from last year. Because granted, obviously, Bijan Robinson was the biggest threat last year. Bijan Robinson was the best running back in football. Everyone knew that at the time. They don't have somebody like that. Granted, they still have Quinn and Xavier Worthy, who are both dynamic players and very good players. I think Saban game plans around them correctly. And I don't think he allows them to ever... I think this entire game, Alabama is going to feel like they're in control the entire game. So I think Alabama wins by at least 2 scores here in Tuscaloosa. There you go.
Great analysis. Fantastic
you.
analysis.
Thank you.
Rob, you take this one.
Connor made a good point about the penalties last year, and I think one of the big takeaways from Alabama in their first game is we actually looked fucking disciplined for once. We only had 2 penalties against Middle Tennessee State, which playing a lesser opponent probably shouldn't have as many penalties. But I think just all in all, I think the new coaches seem to give the players more confidence. I think everyone was playing a little bit more within themselves than they tried to do last year at times. I agree. I think Alabama controls this game. I think they have enough to shut down that passing attack, assuming our secondary is healthy. We did get a little banged up there towards the end of the game. Didn't sound serious for either Malachi Moore or Kool-Aid. I agree with Connor. I think Alabama wins. I think they control the game. I don't think it gets out of hand, but I think Alabama feels pretty confident throughout the course of the game.
Yep. Agreed.
I think I'm going to go with my really attractive co-hosts here. I don't know. Alabama outclasses Texas, I think, at every position but quarterback. I I'm really interested by some of the betting odds. Vegas only has Bama at a 7-point favorite at home,
Yeah,
which I think is a lot of just better memory from last year. I mean, and I was one of those folks that thought Bama was going to win by 3 scores in Austin.
Yeah, me too.
I really
I think everyone
right?
was. Yeah.
So I think everyone, and I'll be the first one to admit, Bama would have lost last year if Quinn Ewers doesn't get hurt. But Texas wins probably by 2 scores in that game. So everyone's a lot more cautious this year. But Nick Saban is the epitome of get me once, you're not going to get me twice. So it's just not going to happen at home.
And I think there's a lot to be said about the fact that Alabama had coaching turnover and now has coordinators that Sark is not as familiar with. Maybe Kevin Steele somewhat, but I don't think he's prepared for anything Tommy Rees has to throw at him. I don't know why he would be. He's obviously gonna have some tricks up his sleeve. I think Saban's going to be ready for a lot of those. He knows Sark pretty well. I think Alabama is going to be looking good coming Saturday night.
First night game in Bryant Denny of the season. Crowd will be there.
Not true. We played at night last week. The 7 p.m. kick last week, my friend.
Brian, what the hell, bro?
I watched a lot of football.
Yeah,
that's fair. I did as well. Yeah.
It's just all there.
Robbie, did you force your girlfriend to watch a lot of football with you, Robbie?
Damn straight, yeah.
Yes, what a catch.
We did.
What a catch.
I gave her a Nintendo Switch and let her play Switch games on the other couch while I was very focused on the Alabama game. It worked beautifully.
So were there any more games that we didn't cover there that you guys would like to mention here?
I got a really interesting game.
Please.
That I think Robbie will be interested to see, and I want to get his opinion on App State rolling into Chapel Hill. What we think about that?
Nothing. I mean, let's not forget how good this game was last year in Boone.
Right. Yep.
And a game that App had absolutely every opportunity to win.
Now App is not as good as they were last year. I was going to say
they lost a lot of pieces. I think Carolina wins. I don't think this is going to be the game we saw last year. Listen, App will be fired up because all those kids that went to App are the kids that Carolina didn't want.
Yep.
So they're going to be ready to play them, but I don't think it matters. I think Carolina is much better. I think Carolina is much better than App compared to last year.
I got an interesting line for you guys real quick. Coming off of a double overtime loss against Wyoming, Texas Tech at home against the Oregon Ducks. Oregon's only favored by 6.5 against Tech, who just lost to Wyoming. It seems like a low line to me. Is that a trap line?
What does Vegas know? What does Vegas know?
Yeah, I mean, granted, Wyoming isn't awful, but they lost. It feels like a weird line.
And another interesting game. This is a divisional game, a conference game, week 2. The highest over-under that I have seen, that is number 6 USC, 2-0 on the season, playing host to Stanford. Mine set at 70.
Holy crap.
In the Coliseum, USC favored by 29.
Y'all talked about how bad their defense looked last week.
Yeah, so but USC is going to hang 50 on Stanford. So they're going to get you most of the way to the over-under by themselves.
Yeah, you're right.
It's just a lot of points.
It's a lot of points. It's a lot of points.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think Stanford covers 29.5. Don't you think? Feels like a lot of points too.
That's 4 scores. That's more than 4 scores. Yeah, that's crazy.
Over 4 scores. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Although they did only beat Hawaii by 13 last week.
And what do we think about OU favored only about 15.5 against SMU and Norman?
Yeah, I thought that line would move. I thought it would be more than what it is, especially after their showing this past week.
Projected 100 degrees at kickoff at 6 p.m.
Imagine they're playing this game at noon.
Woof.
Granted, I think OU probably covers because, like I said, they looked a lot better last week than I expected them to. So I think OU probably covers. Can we talk about how Oklahoma State is going to be involved in a Pac-12 after dark game against Arizona State at 9:30, please?
Woo! Go.
That'll be fun.
The second part of the home and home.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're going to move on from college football. We spent a lot of time on it. We're going to go through our last 2 headlines. Lithuania defeated the United States in the FIBA World Cup 110-104. So that happened.
Bums.
USA sucks.
And then as Ryan Clay,
Verstappen.
Max Verstappen Max Verstappen claimed a record 10th consecutive F1 victory at the Italian Grand Prix on Sunday to move clear of the tally set by Sebastian Vettel in 2013. It has been a remarkable season for the 25-year-old, who is now just 4 wins away from moving joint fourth with Alain Prost on the career wins list. For reference, because I was kind of looking at career wins. Obviously, Verstappen's young. He is, I think it was 50 or whatever. And Lewis Hamilton, who is the all-time leading winner in F1, it was like 100 something, but he's 38. Verstappen is 25.
Verstappen is already like approaching like tentative GOAT status with how talented he is. It's pretty crazy.
But this, I know a lot of people that have gotten really into F1 recently, and I don't get it. Why do I want to wake up at 9 a.m. on a Sunday to watch the same guy win for the 10th time in a row? So like someone explain it to me. I don't get it.
He does simply win
NASCAR
a lot.
though.
Just
like
wins.
NASCAR is just a circle. Like at least everyone's like a track.
But at least different people win NASCAR. I have to say I watched the Daytona 400 a couple weeks ago and actually very much so enjoyed it. Like way more than I should have. But I also had something on the line, which is a little bit different.
I can't watch 200 laps of a circle.
Well, so we had our fantasy draft order dependent on where our drivers finished. So I actually had
funny.
like betting thing in it.
That's funny.
So the bracket's only 8 shows, so we can knock out the bracket pretty quick. It's not a big bracket like we've done before. It's a very quick little bracket. I think 100%. We're gonna have a bros showdown though for the bracket. I'm gonna let you guys talk through the bracket. I'll be a tiebreaker if absolutely necessary, but we're gonna have a little bro time on the podcast. A little bro time. So 100%. For our listeners, we're going to do a bracket of Nickelodeon shows. And we're talking like Nickelodeon shows from like when Ryan and I were little. I don't know what the hell is on Nickelodeon now, but we're not touching those. So we're gonna be doing some early 2000s type of Nickelodeon shows. We have 8 different shows here. Should be I am a little bit worried about commenting some of these. Yeah. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Our first matchup, fellas. We got Jimmy Neutron.
Okay.
Versus Danny Phantom.
Oh. Danny Phantom. What a banger. Danny Phantom. Yeah. I think Danny Phantom's the better show. I knew Jimmy Neutron like Jimmy's mom. Like the calls.
Jimmy Neutron's great for memes. It's got so much meme potential.
I think Danny Phantom is a better show. I think that's a better I like Danny Phantom more than Jimmy Neutron.
I had multiple crushes on Danny Phantom animated females in that
very
show.
Well, yeah.
To this day, I'm like, dang, man, me knew what was going on.
Shigo? Is that her name or something like that?
That's Kim Possible. Shigo's Kim Possible.
Yeah.
Oh, I mixed it up. My bad. Yeah, I didn't watch Danny Phantom, I promise.
Danny Phantom.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree with that take, fellas. I think that's a good take. This next matchup, I actually fought for one of these two to be replaced by Cat Dog because I really liked Cat Dog.
I never watched Cat Dog.
But I got overruled. So our next matchup is Fairly Odd Parents versus Rocket Power.
I never watched Rocket Power.
I didn't either.
So I would have to go Fairly Odd Parents actually on that one. Just purely from an elimination perspective.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch Rocket Power either. It only had four seasons.
Yeah. No.
I was pulling for Cat Dog, but I got overruled. So
I also never watched Cat Dog. So either way, it would have been a Fairly Odd Parents.
All right, I think that's fair.
All right.
Next matchup, I think this is a good matchup. We got the Rugrats versus Avatar: The Last.
Avatar: Last Airbender. Avatar.
For sure.
That's gonna win.
Hands down.
Well, wait till the second round matchup is a little spicy.
Yeah.
The last first round matchup we have here, we have SpongeBob SquarePants versus Hey Arnold.
SpongeBob.
Yeah, it's not relatively close. Now, these semifinal matchups is where things start to get a little bit more interesting.
I'm here.
In our first semifinal, we have Danny Phantom versus the Fairly Odd Parents.
I think Danny Phantom's a better show.
I still go Danny Phantom.
Yeah, I think Danny Phantom.
I think it's tighter than Jimmy Neutron and Danny Phantom.
It is,
in my opinion.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
Cosmo is like a top 10 animated character. He's actually hysterical. Also, Timmy's dad kills me.
Timmy's dad is so funny.
Some of the shiny teeth, an absolute anthem. Just some really good episodes out of Fairly Odd Parents.
And the ending of Fairly Odd Parents is fantastic too. That you find out that, spoiler alert, Timmy essentially just wished to be a kid for the rest of his life, which is why the show has been going on for so long. That's like kept his fairies for so long. It's just quite the twist for a kids show of all things too. This next matchup, I know how you guys are going to go. People are going to disagree with us. I would agree with what you're going to do, but we'll go and throw the matchup out there. We got Avatar: The Last Airbender versus SpongeBob SquarePants.
Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of the best shows of all time. Like
Agreed.
it's not just a kids show. It's not like Ryan and I talked about it because it got super popular over COVID, and people watched it and they're like, holy crap! I was like,
I never watched The Legend of Korra until COVID. I honestly don't even know if I knew it existed until I watched it.
We watched because season 2 is bad, and so my parents and I stopped after that. But then season 3 of Korra is really good. Yeah. So I ended up finishing it. But yeah, Avatar: Last Airbender, like I said, is one of the best shows of all time. Yeah, it's awful.
See, the issue is original, like new SpongeBob kind of bites. The first 7 seasons of SpongeBob is really good, and there's so much adult humor that you don't get until you go back and watch it.
The Krusty Krab in the Bikini Bottom, it's right there.
It's hysterical. But part of me doesn't even want to. Avatar: The Last Airbender mixes child with adult just so well that you can go back and watch it at different stages of life. And just enjoy different episodes so much more than when you previously watched it. I mean, from me, when I watched it as a 13-year-old to when I watched it as a 23-year-old, I mean, I enjoyed the show for completely different reasons, and I'm going to watch it with my kids.
And I think the difference here is these are different shows, right? Like SpongeBob is this cultural phenomenon that was just so incredibly popular, but it doesn't have the story. Doesn't have the characters that Avatar: The Last Airbender have. They're different things, right? Like SpongeBob is great just to watch if you just want to watch something and not really think about it. If you want to watch a show that you're going to sit down and enjoy and binge, that's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Avatar makes me cry multiple times, probably once a season.
Uncle Iroh and Liu Ten is one of the best. And the funny thing is that's a filler episode. The whole thing where it's it's like the Tales of Ba Sing Se. It's all filler, and it's some of the best parts of the show. Some of the best moments in the show. And as Ryan said, from when I was a kid, as a kid, you're like, oh, the bending's cool. And oh, I like the group of friends or whatever. But then as you get older, for me specifically, I remember being fascinated, the way that they deal with the politics of there is no war in Ba Sing Se. That is fascinating. If you actually look at the whole world and world building, Zuko's character arc, just things that you look at from a different perspective, knowing more about TV and movies as you get older. You're like, holy crap, how did they handle that so well in a kid
and
show?
Still make it a kid show? Yeah,
exactly. It's just unbelievable. So yeah, I mean, easily Avatar: Last Airbender. Not to spoil the finals.
Yeah,
I have one way I lean.
Finals, fellas. We got Danny Phantom versus Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Don't get me wrong, Danny Phantom's a great show. Danny Phantom is
one of the
best.
On the same level.
It's just Avatar: The Last Airbender is just unbelievable.
The crazy thing is, we actually created this bracket. We're supposed to go to a party, and we're doing a bracket party around to bring a bracket. We're all gonna fill it out together or whatever.
Yeah.
Avatar didn't fucking win.
What won? Out of that 8?
I got to go back and look. So to be fair, this group of friends is a little bit older than us. So that I think they were more into the SpongeBob and those type of things. I don't remember what won, but we ended up not being able to go. But I just remember we were sitting there, they were updating us as the brackets were going through, and we saw Avatar didn't win. I'm I was dumbfounded. Dumbfounded.
We'll watch at any point.
Yeah, no.
If
100%.
someone pulls it up, I will sit down to watch at least a couple episodes.
Correct.
Yeah. So thank you. So shout out to Robbie's girlfriend for that bracket. Thank you very much.
Shout
I know
out
that
Hannah.
she.
What's up, Hannah?
Thank you very much for that. And Robbie, did you have something else that you wanted to mention real quick?
I was trying to find what won, but it's
I got you
buried in my messages somewhere, so I'm probably not gonna be able to find it really quick. So
very well.
For myself and Ryan and Connor, thank you for listening to another fantastic episode. Hopefully my co-hosts can pick up their pick'ems here a little bit and make this a interesting ride down to the finish of the season. But thank you for listening. If you haven't, please go subscribe, follow us, interact with content. We're pretty good about responding to things on there. So if you have any takes, put them out there for us. We'll let you know why you're wrong and why we're right. And once again, thank you for listening, and please gamble responsibly.
Bye.